Welcome back. Let's invite Prakash Diwan on the show now. Prakash, season's greetings to you. And keeping in step with the festive cheer, wanted to get your thoughts in on the liquor companies, because over the weekend, the Gujarat government has announced the permission of consumption of liquor in Gift City. So that puts stocks like USL, a United Breweries, or a Radico Khaitan in focus. How much of a sentiment uptick do you expect on the back of this? And generally, your thoughts on these liquor companies?
Good morning, Reem. Yeah, it's so simple. This is just like one flash in the pan for liquor companies. One state, one city. Within that, also one jurisdiction restricted to people who are employed there. I don't think it's going to change anything on the consumption side, if you ask me. But what it does is that it demonstrates a government's ability to be flexible and be open to these kind of regulatory interventions to make things easier, for the sake of the business. Now, for the liquor companies, this was something which they probably didn't anticipate to happen so soon. And because of that, there's nothing which is going to change in terms of, distribution network and, supply system, supply chains and all that. So what's happening for liquor companies overall is that the kind of premiumization that we saw, which came out, which was underway over the last couple of years, especially when Diageo came in, Heineken came into the country, that has started kind of, segmenting the market in a very productive way. You have the premium, popular, prestige, this thing, brands getting clubbed together. And then you have the super premium stuff, which is still available from, the likes of Radico, some of the unlisted names like Amrut and Paul John and all of that. So that segment is kind of getting very mature. And my sense is you'll probably see a very strong growth for the next 5-6 years for all these companies. My bet in this entire space continues to be United Spirits, given the fact that they've done whatever it took to kind of, set the company in terms of a new growth trajectory. The new management has articulated a roadmap which is absolutely clear in terms of revenue visibility. The operating leverage is coming in. The leakages have stopped. I would believe, USL at this level is something which could in the next couple of years give you some, outperformance very clearly. I mean, it could be 30%, 25-30% CAGR for the next 3 years. So that's a stock to bet on. The smaller companies will probably continue to reinvent themselves. We'll look at them. We've seen the beer companies do so well in the past. From a small base, they've moved up. But then, it's not something which is yet very clearly secular for the next few years. So USL is what you need to bet your money on. And I'm sure you'll probably drink your way to the bank, if you will.
That's a new one, drink.
Drink your way to the bank, my God. That's...
By the way, you know what Prakash said, right? With the fact is that it's also a liquor company.
Yeah.
But I think what he began by saying is important because, no liquor in Gift City, which is supposed to be this international jurisdiction, right? It's not controlled by SEBI. It's not. I mean, it falls under the laws of the land. It's completely different. They're trying to set it up like an international financial destination, like London, Dubai, Singapore, etc. But there was no alcohol. And I remember, speaking with the regulator of the Gift City and asking him this. I mean, he acknowledged, but didn't obviously make a fuss about it. But obviously, this is big enough that this change has been now implemented.
And I think much awaited by a lot of the participants who are there, a lot of the foreign banks, the Indian participants who've set up shop in the last couple of, many months and, in fact, over the last year. So, yeah, and good news coming in at the right time as well, right? Okay, just to get back to other business, Prakash, hi, been a while. Good to talk to you this morning. I want to draw your attention back to Infosys. I mean, to things which are a little more somber than the high note that we've started off on. So this this cancellation of of a contract, I guess in terms of how much it impacts immediate EPS, that's not really the point here. I think the question is more on the sentiment side. Now, here's a stock that's been absolutely range bound. If you've traded the rallies right on IT, you've made money this year. Otherwise, if you've sat on your IT stock, I mean, Infosys up hardly 4-5% in the year gone by. What should the approach be to the biggies as we get into the new year?
Good morning, Shurbi. Great to see you back on this show. So, I think what started off as an anticipation of revival in terms of demand, and, I'll go back to the Accenture earnings release where they actually, after almost 4 quarters or 6 quarters, they actually added to the headcount. Now, companies which very clearly have indications of what's likely to come, they're the only ones who will do that. Infosys also kind of paid off that particular increment, which was not anticipated, was delayed and almost kind of missed out. And then they came back with of course, it was very token, it was small, it wasn't very significant. But the fact that employee retention, incremental headcount, all of that has started emerging in the news snippets tells you that there is anticipation by these biggies to get into newer contracts or see some sort of an enhancement of their existing contracts. And come January, you will see all of that happen. In the US on the ground, the situation is very simple, that the companies that have survived this last 1 year through whatever, turmoil that it's gone from the economy perspective, they are the ones who probably want to keep on consolidating their market share gains in whichever industries they are. It could be financial services, could be engineering, it could be oil and gas. And that's where most of the order flow is likely to kind of emerge. My sense is the bigger ones will actually start seeing a significant improvement in pricing power, but maybe not in the first quarter, but post the second quarter of calendar 24, and that's where you'll start re-rating them. So IT is looking quite positive, but it's not going to be a stellar performance that you saw because there's nothing which is very transformational. And the fact that AI in most places is just about 3.5% of revenue contribution means there's a lot of headroom for growth. So you will see much more accelerated growth in that. So 3 years back we saw that with digitization. This time it's going to be AI ML. So that look at companies which participate in that more actively, who have direct correlation to that growth from that sector, and you'll probably make some money. Infosys probably stands out as the most valuable buy at this point in time from the top 4 or 5 names that you would see, and then probably an HCL Tech. Wipro, I've been hearing about a lot of changes that are in the offing. If those changes happen, Wipro could also get into a very strong run. But then we'll have to wait for those things to happen and not just rely on market whispers.
All right, Prakash, stay with us. This gets implemented. I think Prakash is still with us. Prakash, sorry, just a quick word on 2 names. Piramal Pharma, which has seen the stock price fortunes revive quite sharply, and Wipro. Very briefly, Prakash, go on.
So Wipro, I spoke about, we are anticipating a lot of changes given the disappointment with the leadership and some of the focus and strategy. So if that were to happen, it would probably start giving you a very different growth rate, and that's not priced in yet, Prashant. So you will see that kind of a bump up in that once a positive news flow comes in. On Piramal Pharma, I think post the IPO, the disappointment is probably beyond is behind us in that sense, because whatever they've done in terms of their portfolio consolidation, the kind of balance sheet repair that was required, or balance sheet reset that was required, that's also done. And given the fact that pharma has already started looking up from a macro sectoral top end perspective, I think Piramal Pharma will offer a lot of value to a lot of people who've been tracking it. And remember,
right,
all the selling that was expected has also been digested of sorts. So you'll probably not see some liquidity overhang coming to the stock once it starts moving up.
All right, Prakash, we'll leave it there. I'm sorry, stay with us. We'll come back to you with more, but that's Piramal Pharma in focus with Prakash. Anuj is here.